It's too much technology already. Oh, help. Okay, I'm delighted to be here. Great opportunity. I have what I have found to be a big idea that helps people change their lives. And those people go out and help other people change their lives. And this is happening around the world already. And I think it's a kind of change that will make the kinds of differences and change the world that Peter was talking about as well. So, about 25 years ago, I first encountered the ideas of a man by the name of Dr. William Glasser. And it was an interesting time of my life. I think my quest for happiness was a little bit stalled. I was focusing, as a matter of fact, mostly on finding fault. I mean, any misery I had certainly had to be because of the world out there, the people I knew, the people I lived with, the city I lived in. Everything had to be because of they, them. So finding fault was big. The good news is that I chose to learn and learn and learn, and then teach and teach and teach everything that choice theory psychology has to offer. And so I stand here today not focused on finding fault. My mantra today is finding joy and bringing joy. So what I hope to share with you today is just a little bit in the short time that I have, maybe three. I think I came up with 3 different components that you could start today that would help you take charge from the inside out. So far, so good? Okay, I have 2 questions. The first question goes like this. So, do you ever want things to go like your way? Like some of the time? Like all of the time? We are that. We want things to go our way. Okay. Second question. Have any of you experienced stress in your life? Oh, come on, show of hands, show of hands. It's not just me, right, okay. Well, after years of study, I've now come up with, I find, the perfectly simple and clear definition of stress. You ready? Stress is when things don't go my way. In a nutshell, that's about it, okay? So, the thing that's interesting is because it happens often, we human beings use some very interesting behaviors. And all those behaviors are our attempts to get everybody else to do it our way. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of, I call it a typical morning BCT, before choice theory. It goes like this. Before my feet hit the ground, I'm on a roll, and I'm going like this. Oh my God, we're late, and I know it's your fault. And my daughter becomes my object of affection, okay? And I'm going, you were late. You went to bed far too late last night. You're probably going to flunk. Did you even do any homework? And by the way, is that your room I smell? Have you done your laundry lately? And as I get there, she's at the door like this going, so? Where did Insta-bitch come from? She called me a bitch. Man, I went downstairs. I was furious. I let the dog in. Would he come back? Why would he? I'm there going, come here, come here. This is a golden retriever. He only likes fun. I have to get nice before he'll come home. It takes me a bit of time. I'm late. I'm so late, I get in the car, and I'm about to rush off to work, and I look and there's no gas. I am so ticked, it isn't even funny. But I knew that last night when I parked the car. But now I'm really angry. And I drive along to work, and you know what? Someone cuts me off. I have no ears, I have no lips. Foul, foul, foul. And I'm doing universal sign language, and I'm going to get there. I finally get to the parking lot. I'm a little bit late. I pull in, and you know what? There's somebody in my spot. Now, I don't actually have an assigned spot, but I do have one I like, and there's someone in it right now. Slam the door, I stomp, I get to work, and I get there, I get to my desk, and do you know what? There's work. I have work. Now, my co-worker says, Ellen, how's your day going? You want to know? So I tell her. Daughter told me a bitch, the dog took off. I won't tell you who's in my parking spot. Have you seen what they want us to do now? Now. My co-worker does not say, Namaste, have a peaceful day. No, she's a true Canadian. She's not going to be better than me. She's going to be worse. Oh, really? You think you had a bad day? You should see what mine was like. So what I tell people is, by 9 o'clock we should all be on Prozac. Happiness quotient, 0. Efforts to control, over the top 10. And I'm using what Glasser calls deadly habits. And I'm using it, I'm just Do you recognize any of these? Do you recognize any? It's not just me, right? Okay. These are my best attempts at the time to get people to do what I want them to do. However, the really interesting part is none of it works. I try really hard, but none of it's working. So, why is that? This was probably the biggest, hugest impact, and you actually alluded to it several times. The only person whose behavior I control is me, myself, and I. Oh, okay, so you mean all that stuff isn't going to get the others to get up on time, etc., etc.? No, maybe not. So I'm wasting all my energy on those awful habits? What if I did something else then? What if I started using the caring habits? What if I was respectful? I was respecting, encouraging, negotiating differences instead of trying to shove my way down your throat. Trusting that people do know their own answers. Accepting, listening to understand, not listening so I can, catch you and get it done my way. Supporting. How is it? Would that be not a bad idea to try those? Because the others aren't working anyway. The other thing that's really important to understand is the deadly habits push you apart from the really important people in your life. So I want to ask you just to do a little activity. It's an internal activity, self-reflective. It goes like this. Take a second and think of an important person in your life. Someone who's important right now, someone you interact with on a regular basis. You got that person in your mind? Okay. Now I want you to think, how often have you used one or more of the deadly habits with that person this week? I'll remind you what they are. Criticize, bang, complain, nag, threaten, punish, and bribe. I know them intimately. Far too well. Never forget those things. Okay, have you got that? How many times you might have used those with some that's important to you? Now, I want you to look at these, the caring habits. And how many of these and how often have you used with that same person in the same past week? So my challenge to you is just saying, this is such a good place to start that control from the inside out, taking charge from the inside out, and the impact is phenomenal. It's so fun to watch and to see and to be part of when you try these. Make sense so far? Okay. Now, so there I was in my quest for happiness. And I was doing pretty well. I understood that I could only control me, and so I was laying off the others as much as possible. And I was getting to be very nice, very encouraging, very supportive. Things were going quite well. The problem was, I don't know, nobody else was taking the course, I guess. And it seemed that for some reason or other, I was doing a lot of stuff. I was very busy, I was very involved, but I wasn't very happy, still wasn't taking care of me, and this is one of the things I found out. The next thing was, I needed to learn how to say no. Not to be mean and nasty to anybody, but just because I needed to learn how to say no. So here's a question. How many of you have said yes to being, involved in committees, taking on tasks that weren't really yours? How many of you have said no, said yes when you meant to say no? A few of us might have done this from time to time, okay? One of the things that I learned that was really interesting, I remember someone said this and I thought, oh my gosh, I think they're right. You need 4 good no's. Because 3, you run out of excuses and they've got you, all right? So you need 4. And it goes like this. Somebody phones and they say, Ellen, we're so glad to catch you at home. We want you to be on Committee X. And I go like this. I want polite, thank you for asking. And I give my first no. It won't fit in my schedule. And then they go, who will we get? We were counting on you. Do not volunteer to find your replacement. Just say it won't fit in my schedule. Get 2 down, 2 to go. They might guilt you by saying, I thought you believed in our cause. I do. It won't fit in my schedule. And at the very end, they might say something, well, I can tell you've got such important things to do. Too busy for us. Okay. You just say, it won't fit in my schedule. And with any luck at all, they've run out. And you just click the phone. And you don't have to do it. Okay? Because what you want is you want to be able to take care of your needs. And this was the thing that was huge learning for me. I have needs. Glasser calls these genetic instructions, and that we have 5 genetic instructions. And the purpose of behavior from birth to death is to find a way to get these needs met in a way that works for you. Again, you can only control you, and the way you need your needs filled are yours as well. So, what if, when I decided to say yes to something, I assessed it to see if I could meet one or more of those needs while I'm involved in it? Is it a place or people with whom I feel connected and a belongingness? I'll give you an example. I remember I used to wear red hat, red sneakers and things like that when I did a lot of humor workshops, and I used to wear those, and I remember thinking, oh, I should belong to the Red Hat Society. And so I heard about a group, and I was getting ready to join it. I thought, oh, that could be kind of fun, some wonderful women who want to think a little differently, out of the box, isn't that great? And then I heard they had rules. You have to, you should, you must, and certain things about that. I never got in touch with them because I knew it wasn't going to meet my need for freedom. Or perhaps fun. Or perhaps power. Fun, by the way, is the genetic reward for learning, so it's a discovery. You know when you're involved in something and it's so much fun? You'll laugh, you'll work at it for hours. Okay? It's not called work anymore, it's fun. Well, those are the passions that you have. Power is about achievement, recognition, contribution. Right? Am I making that in this thing that I've said yes to? And am I surviving? Can I stay healthy while I do it? Or is it taking like 60 hours a week and I already have a 45? Oh, that's another 60-hour-a-week job. So far, so good? Okay. So taking care of needs. It's also really important. What did I have next? That's it. I remember now. It's good to have these. Where are you going with this, Ellen? All right, so I've learned how to take control. I control me. I understand about the carings, and I'm doing pretty well with that. I'm getting really, really good at taking care of my basic human needs. I get it. So, by the way, when you find yourself whining about things, just a little out of sorts, whining. Does anybody do that from time to time? I always say, put those 5 needs down on a piece of paper and assess, how am I doing so far? Is there any one in particular that seems to be like empty, not taking care of it? Okay, it's just a little suggestion, because that's been a huge lifesaver for me. All right, but then in my quest for happiness, the problem was that I still seem to have, I don't know, I was a weight. It's like baggage. I guess it's the baggage that you carry around from birth till now. And it is this. It's about, how do I learn to let go? What am I letting go? Is it my soul? Is it my identity? Or is it shoulds, musts, have to, thou shalt not? Beliefs. Like, where do the beliefs come from, some of them? I know I had some. I remember thinking about, it was about cooking a ham. And it was my grandmother's, only it wasn't even hers. My mother thought it was. So here's this belief that we're running around and cooking a ham a certain way that's a faulty belief to start with. My grandmother's been dead for 36 years. Why am I doing this? Chuck that one, out it goes. Feeling a little lighter, okay? Expectations. Yours, of me. Remember, I only control me. That means you only control you. So your expectations of me are not that important to me anymore. And mine, if you shouldn't be either, but I didn't want to tell you out loud. Just in case you still want to do a few of them for me. Okay. Worry, guilt. I remember hearing years ago, it was on the radio, it said, you know what guilt is? The gift that keeps on giving. How much of it do you need and when do you want to let go? The last is rules. Rules, rules, rules. I'll give you an example of what I call rules that we've learned from the time we were little and we carry them around. I call it the picnic. Every year there's a certain time, it's a great picnic day. And you want it, I say to the family, you yell through the house, who wants to go on a picnic? They go, I do, I do. And I go, great. And I go into the kitchen and I go into picnic ruledom. 3 kinds of sandwiches, don't you know, don't you know. There's peanut butter and jam, that's on white bread, crust off, cut in diamonds, they're done. Then there's ham and lettuce on brown bread, and you leave the crust on, you put mustard on but not hot, you cut it in squares, okay, pack those, that's great. Then there's tomato sandwiches, right, but you don't make them because they'll get soggy, so you bring the bread, bring the tomato, bring the mayo, bring the salt, bring the pepper, bring the lettuce, bring the sharp knife. Okay, that's done. And then I'm going to throw in a little chips and cheesies because, you know, like a little bit salty. 4 food groups. What rule is that? Okay, then I've got the carrots and I've got the celery and they're all fixed up. And I'm going to put dip. But I'm not going to buy the dip because it has preservatives. I have to make it from scratch. Okay, I've got the dip and it's in there. Hard-boiled eggs. Whoever had a picnic, they're hard-boiled eggs. But now that they're cooked, I have to peel them because my grandmother said, peel them because you might get a little piece of shell and you'll have bleeding gums at the picnic. Okay, I've peeled all the eggs. They're done. And then I'm going to pack some fruit, 3 different kinds, because the kids will fight. Okay, about 3 different kinds. And then I'm going to put in some natural juices in water, nothing with sugar in it. Okay, that's all packed. And then cookies. I don't actually make them anymore because of the fats and the sugars. However, I'm socially responsible, and we have 2 bags of Girl Guide cookies that we can put in right now. Okay, fine, that's great. Now I need to have a tablecloth. Because if I had a picnic table and I get a splinter, I could get blood poisoning, so I'm going to have a tablecloth, that'd be great. And then I'm going to bring cloth napkins, because, of course, paper we cut down. How many trees to do that? Okay, that's all packed, we're ready. The dog, I have to bring the dog. The vet told me I hadn't walked the dog enough, so I better bring the dog. So I pack the dog, I'll bring a Frisbee. If I do that, I better bring towels. We're going to be near the water? I got to pack the water wings, I got to pack the hats, the suntan lotion. Are we ready yet? I've just sucked the joy right out of my day, and I'm about to suck it out of theirs. Get in the car, we're going now. The rules. What if? What if, eh? I think there's a rule, by the way, it's the one rule that I want you to think about that you could let go of. I call it the rule of life. You learned it when you were 5 years old. You ready? You can't go out to play till you finish your work. At 5. It's no big deal. I'm out of here, okay? Now, we have that rule, and I say to you, with all the responsibilities that you have, at home, at work, with your family, with your, you may be sandwich generation, if you cannot go out to play till you finish your work, when do you go out to play? Oh my. So what if Robin Williams is right? What if there are no rules? What if you just have to follow your heart? What if? That's my choice. We were talking about this earlier. What if it's my choice? Well, guess what? It is. I choose all my behaviors. You choose all your behaviors. That means there's such a wide variety that I haven't even tried out yet. Because I had all these rules and regulations, but when I let them go, I'll give you an example of letting them go. That same picnic, what if, when I say to the family, who wants to go on a picnic? And they all go, I do. What if I said, whatever you want, bring it. Meet me in the car. 5 minutes. Now, I always have somebody who says, well, they forget. Well, I said, the first time they might. But what if then? What if we got to live in the present moment? Because actually that is the only place we're supposed to live. We do a lot of pasteurizing. We do a lot of futurizing and catastrophizing, but this moment is the one we have. So what if we said, picnic I want is a feast for the senses, in the present. So, I'm going to figure out, what do I want to look at? Well, maybe it's a beach picnic. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's that cedar grove that smells so wonderful, with the grass under your feet, and just, the feel, the sights, the smells, the tastes. I would take chocolate on the picnic. I might not take anything else. What the heck is my picnic? What if we lived like this? What would it look like? For me, the sense of touch, and it brings me back to why would I want to be in charge of my life? And why would I want to teach my children and their children to be in charge of their lives? So that they can learn to live with great joy. I have several grandchildren. I'm working, living, taking care of some right now. But the first one, I can remember the first time we took her for a walk. She was about 1.5 years. She must have learned to walk in the winter. And they were out. I had her hand, my husband had her little hand, and we're walking, and it was just a miracle. It was absolutely fabulous. Life was worth living. And the wonderful thing that happened was, when she was 9, which was last year, I was out visiting. And I took her to school one morning, and I was walking her. I got to the street. There's a large street with a big intersection and lights. So, we get there, we're standing at the red light, and when it turns green, she takes my hand, and she says, "Lally, I have to walk you across safely." So, first take charge of your own life, and then lead the way. We can change the world, and it is happening. Sometimes it feels slow. However, if you get into that joyful place, it's not. Living in the present moment, may you find joy, and may you bring joy. Thank you very much.